So a few weeks ago I had an urge to play MMOs, and for some reason I didn't come up with a good MMO that I would play because I got really bored of MMOs just a few years ago with the Guild Wars 2, and then I realized that Elder Scrolls Online exists, so I decided to give it a go. To be fair, this was not my first playthrough with an Elder Scrolls Online. I actually played it while it was beta and I thoroughly disliked it. I was very disappointed despite my initial huge hype for this game. So I decided to give it a go in 2022, decided whether it's good or not, what changed, etc, etc, because I've seen a lot of DLCs, a lot of expansions, a lot of things that were coming out. The latest expansion was the Greymoor, and I was thinking maybe they changed and maybe upgraded something. And boy, I was right, and I was blown away with the things that I've seen. I've been playing Elder Scrolls Online for the past month now, in and out, not all the time. I've probably accumulated around 30 hours of playthrough. I know it's not nearly enough to feel the entirety of an MMO, but it is damn near enough to understand whether the game is good or not, or whether you are enjoying the game or not. And trust me guys, if you're playing game for the 30 hours and not enjoying it, the game is bad. But if you're playing for 30 hours and enjoying every single second of it, it's absolutely damn worth to buy. So let's just discuss what Elder Scrolls Online is and how you need to actually play it and whether it's worth it in 2020 or not. So to be fair, I was playing Elder Scrolls Online not more as an MMO but as a next Elder Scrolls game. If you played Skyrim, you will feel like home here because a lot of elements have been transferred from the previous Elder Scrolls games like Skyrim, and you will feel very much like home. It has some elements of the World of Warcraft and other games as well, more of, I would say, more like Guild Wars 2, but it still feels so much like a single player MMO that you will feel it exactly like home. And one of the best things, one of the first things that you will be hit while you start playing this game is a huge world. I've been playing for 30 hours and I haven't even visited a quarter of the world. That's how huge the world is. The world is so big and zones are so big and they can suck you in so much for so long, and you will probably spend like 5 to 6 hours in a single zone, and there are dozens of zones there, and probably I would compare the size of the game maybe at least 10 times the size of the Skyrim. And you have, unlike the Skyrim, you have an entire empire of Tamriel at your disposal. To be fair, it's not all open to you because the majority of the continent is still locked up. There is nothing there, and some parts of the continent are locked behind the DLC. But even in a vanilla game, there's so big world that you will not get bored no matter what. There is a very deep and detailed lore. Every single region has its own look. Even though they kinda look the same-ish, you will still feel it in a different world because every single region has its own distinct culture, its distinct own people, distinct own problems, and every single region is more or less distinct. To be fair, I felt they are kinda same but different enough to feel the difference. So if you expect like some huge world differences, like complete shifts, you may not feel this or from the regions that are bordering each other. So if you could travel from one end of the continent to another, you will feel that. But if you're traveling from like nearby regions, you'll feel that the transformation is pretty gradual and pretty realistic, which I simply love. A lot of the game is incredibly detailed. A bunch of different monsters native to different places, a bunch of different books that you can read. You cannot even imagine. You can read books in an MMO. We have so many books that I actually started reading some of them, but then I realized how many books are there. I just didn't even bother because you were gonna find books practically everywhere in every single dungeon. And books have practical applications as well because some of them will actually help you to upgrade your skills, which is incredibly good, which incentivizes you to just go and read every single book that you have. Not just go through it, but at least open and close it as quick as possible. The world just feels alive. It just moves around like even without you, and it accommodates every single individual and every single player very well. But there is no world, there is no good world in an MMO MMO without a questing system, or there is no good world without, any RPGs without a good questing system. And I was really scared about how the questing system would work because I kind of didn't like it as well in beta. To be fair, I played only the starter region in the beta, but still. But as soon as I started the game, as soon as I started going to the quest, I realized this at the same moment that the questing system is simply great. It's simply fine. If you liked how we're questing in the Skyrim, you will like it. If you liked how we're questing in the Guild Wars 2, you will like it. It's not exactly like Guild Wars 2. You still need to get to the quest giver and take the quests, etc, etc. The quests are not taken automatically, but every single point in the game, practically every single point of interest, every single region, every single monument, every single village has their own quest line, or at least a single quest. And what's most important, every single region itself, every single zone itself has its own main quest line. So you can just go through the main quest line, and most important, that you don't need to find the place in order to begin. For example, if you go more deeper into zone, you will find the place to get the main quest line, start the main quest line of the zone, even from the middle. You'll probably miss the beginning, but you can go back and start the beginning as well. But it doesn't matter, you will go through an entire quest. So my suggestion would be is when you go to the zone, get the zone quest. It has a different type of marker that you can get, which is absolutely essential. These are probably one of the best quests in the game, and they are quite different from everything else and quite interesting. And most important, because the entire game is voice acted. Yes, every single line in the game is voice acted. You will feel like you're playing in a regular RPG, single player RPG, rather than MMO. The game has so many different quest lines that you will probably get lost and you will have no idea where to start or what to do. So in addition to the main quest line, you have the faction quest line, you have zones quest line, you have your regular quests, you have daily quests, you have guilds / factions quest lines like mages guilds, fighters guilds, etc, etc, and you have a DLC quest lines as well. And of course, I don't remember if I said the regular quests as well. There's so many quests and there's so many things to do that you will be simply lost. And I'm really glad to say that there are a lot of quests where you just go and kill X number of people or just collect X number of grass somewhere. But the majority of quests, because they have a pretty good lore behind it, and because they're voice acted, they're not boring. There are of course some boring quests, but the majority of quests are not boring, and absolute majority of the quests are the multi-layered. So they're not like, oh, the monsters are attacking me, kill those monsters and we'll be done. Majority of the quests are not like that, and they have some endings and some altercations and some results and some consequences, which is very, very cool. And speaking of the killing monsters, the combat in the game, boy oh boy, this is probably one of the best parts of the game, because the combat system is incredible. It is the kind of like a mix of an action combat and tap targeting combat, but practically there's nothing to do with the tap targeting, and the only thing that you need to do is just maybe select some monster just if you want to aim or something like that. But everything about the combat is simply incredible, which is amazing thing. And the most important thing that I loved about this game is that you don't have to choose between the weapons that are specific for a class. When you're choosing the class in the game, you're just choosing your 3 main class skill lines. That's all the things that you choose. You are not locked into anything. You don't have to be a stamina based warrior, or you don't have to be a mana based mage or something like that. You're not locked with anything like that. You're just choosing 3 main class skill lines. That's all there is. Rest is absolutely open for you. Any class can equip any weapons, and every single weapon has its own skill line. Yes, my friends, every single weapon has its own skill line. Want to play the warrior with a destruction staff? You can do this. Want to play with a Templar with a restoration staff? You can do this. Want to dual wield mage? You can do this. Want to play the mage with that bow and arrow? You can absolutely do this, because every single weapon has its own skill line and its own progression. And the weapons and the skill lines are progressing not with your levels, with your main levels, but it's progressing as you use them. So if you have a destruction staff, more destruction staff you use, more it levels up and more skill lines it's unlocked. And what's most important, skill lines are branching, so each and every skill has its own separate branchings that will give you a different effects. And again, most importantly, they have their own passives, they have their own active skills, they have their own ultimates, and not just that, even the factions has their own skill lines, even the PvP has their own skill lines, even then smaller things like pickpocketing and things like that have their own skill lines. And the more things you do, the more it levels up, and you do the things all the time, and that means that you're practically every single time you're upgrading some skill or another, because you do the things and you upgrade the skills. And this goes with the crafting as well. To be fair, I didn't go very deep into crafting, so I cannot speak about the crafting that much, but because I was reading every single book in the game that I'll find, to be fair, I leveled up some of my crafting skills up to level 10 at least, so which is a very great thing. And that means that I don't need to start my crafting skills in the very beginning when I decide to go with the crafting. And to be fair, the combinations of the weapons has their own skill lines as well. I mean that if you have your sword and your shield, it has their own skill line. If you wield two swords, you have your own skill line. If you have a two-handed sword, you have your own skill line, which is incredibly big thing. And I just loved upgrading my skills like that. I know that if I want to get some certain skills, I have to play the certain playstyle, and I do play a certain playstyle. And because I can change my weapons mid combat as well, I can upgrade two different weapon skill lines all at the same time, which I love. And it is the breath of the fresh air after a lot of boring WoW-like MMORPGs. No, not like WoW isn't boring, but it's been stuck in the past for a pretty long time. I haven't played, to be fair, since the Lich King, but still, it is a good thing to have. Now, let's talk about the DLCs and subscriptions before we'll go to the negative things or something like that. So, DLC and subscription is a very essential thing. Not essential thing, it's a very big thing for the entire game, because game needs to monetize it somehow. So, first thing is that game is buy to play, meaning that you need to buy the game in order to play the game. You don't need subscriptions to play the game, but the game has an optional subscription system which calls ESO Plus. So what is ESO Plus gives you? It gives you a bit more XP boosts. It gives you your crafting bag, which is incredibly big thing, meaning that all the ingredients will not be stored in your inventory and will be stored in an infinitely big crafting bag, which will be huge, which is huge because I have used an ESO Plus for some time. Plus, you have some additional things like DLCs. You're gonna get all the DLCs except for the very last one with your ESO Plus. Not that you're gonna get forever, but you can play this until you have your ESO Plus. And this does not concern the very last one. For example, if you want to play the Greymoor, if you buy an ESO Plus, you cannot play the Greymoor unless Greymoor is not the last one while you watch this video. But at the moment, the Greymoor is the last DLC. So if you want to buy the DLC, then you need to buy the Greymoor. You need to buy it separately. And I'm not sure about this, to be fair, but as far as I know, when you purchase the very last DLC, you're gonna get access to every single DLC, every single expansion before that. I mean that if you get a Greymoor, you're gonna get access to every single expansion that was before that. Meaning that you don't need to buy every single expansion one after another or every single time. So if you're jumping into game right now in 2020 while Greymoor is out, if you buy Greymoor, you're gonna get elsewhere, you're gonna get Morrowind, you're gonna get everything else. I'm not sure about this. As far as I know, it's like that. Let me know in the comments down below if you know if it's like that or not. So just don't quote me on that. And of course, let's talk about the pay-to-win elements. And there's not pay-to-win elements in this game, as far as I've seen. There are a crown store in the game where you can purchase a bunch of different things, and there are not a lot of things in a crown store, and the majority of the stuff are cosmetic or housing based. There are a housing system in the game. There are a lot of different houses scattered all around the Tamriel, and even in Oblivion as well. You can buy even a house in a cold harbor, which is one of the planes of Oblivion in the game. If you know the Elder Scrolls universe, you'll probably understand what this. If you don't know, it's like different dimension of the game, and it's a lot of different housing things. It's not a big thing. There are are as well a card system there, I mean that you purchase like loot boxes and open the cards. I opened some cards, not that I bought for it, I just earned it in game, because you can earn those loot boxes in game as well. And they were not a big things, like it was like convenient things, like potions that you could restore your mana and health in combat. Nothing that you couldn't do in game. So I can't say that the Crown Store is pay to win. Probably one of the biggest things that you could buy in a Crown Store that would be very important for you are probably the mounts, because mounts are difficult, as far as I know, difficult to get. I have only horse, but if you want different, more exotic mounts, you can get them from Crown Store. Now, let's talk about the PvP really shortly, and then let's talk about the things that I didn't like in the game. So PvP in the game is, I haven't played a lot of PvP. I played the PvP just yesterday. Before I got in the game, I played extensively the PvP, and the PvP is happening in the central province of Cyrodiil. So the entire PvP is based around to capture the Cyrodiil for yourself. There are some other type of PvP as well, but this is the base PvP system in the game. So Cyrodiil is a central province where, if you don't know where Cyrodiil is, it's where the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion was taking place. So the entire premise of the PvP is that there are 3 factions fighting with each other. There's Daggerfall Covenant, Ebonheart Pact, and Aldmeri Dominion, and they have to fight for the capture of the Cyrodiil province. And what you do is you fight to capture at different castles, different cities, different towns, and your end goal is to capture the Imperial City. So that's what you do in a PvP. So it's like the world PvP there. If you have played Guild Wars 2, it's like world versus world, but instead of different servers playing with each other, it's different inside factions. PvP is happening only in the central province, so if you think that you are locked in somehow, like entering the Ebonheart Pact territory if you're playing an Aldmeri Dominion, no, you're not. You just can go there and just quest there without any problem. It's not gonna be a problem at all, so I would not worry about this. It was in the beginning, while the game was in beta and before the Tamriel Unlimited, I think it's called like that, update was out, but now it's absolutely free. You can go any zone that you want. And I liked the PvP. It was fun. Like, it was fun going into Zerg and just going and capturing different territories, fighting other players. I suck at it. I don't like it, but while in a group, it's pretty fun. And again, PvP is upgrading a skill line, a few skill lines to be fair, and it is incredibly powerful and very interesting. I loved it, and if you like PvP, you'll probably enjoy this as well. To be fair, the PvP seemed pretty much slower than it is a regular game, because you have a global cooldown on the skills when you're using it. So you have one skill that you cannot use skills in succession. You can use one skill and then you have a global cooldown. You have another skill and you have a global cooldown. You have another skill and you have a global cooldown. And to be fair, I didn't like this a lot, because it changes your pacing, your flow of the game a lot compared to the PvE. And yeah, maybe it's for the balancing purposes to not kill the enemies in just 2 hits, but yeah, it felt a bit slower. So if you do want a faster PvP, it's not as fast as like it was in Guild Wars 2 maybe. It's a bit slower than that, and it's a bit slower than a PvE. Now, let's talk the things that I didn't like in the game. The game doesn't hold your hand at all, like absolutely at all. Like, you have to do a lot of things, you have to figure out a lot of things on your own. Game is like just kicking you and just telling you do whatever you want. That's it. Not that it's a bad thing for a lot of people, but what if I want to go and experience entirety of the main quest line? It is incredibly difficult to find out where the main quest line is, because you're being bombarded on fields, general fields, with so many quests so fast that you have no idea what you need to do. It's so fast and it fills up so much that I have no idea. I have the quests, I have my journal filled with quest lines, and I literally have no idea where they get them and what I need to do. And some of the quest lines even doesn't tell you where you need to go in order to complete the quest, because it seemed like that you need to fulfill some of the, I don't know, prerequisites in order to continue, but you don't understand what you need to do. There's so many things like that. For example, I'm in the main quest line where I got to the Cold Harbor, one of the Oblivion Plains, with the open zone. You are getting in and out for quite a lot of times, but I got in open zone, and I literally have no idea what to do. They're saying like, yeah, fill out the city, and that's it. That's exactly it. You need to fill out the empty city with the people, meaning that you need to go and save some people, etc., etc. But it doesn't tell you what those people are, when you need to go there, like when you complete one some quest, when you need to go next, etc., etc. You have no idea what to do. And when you stumble upon like some quest in the beginning, you're just in the middle of the action. You have no idea what is happening. You have no idea what's going on. And many times it left me confused, not understanding what do I need to do. But if you endure through this, if you go through this, it's rewarding. But overall, I would say that's you're way too free in the game. Like you're kicked into the game and just feeling, I don't know, overwhelmed very, very quickly. So if you feel like this, I would suggest you to endure through this, because you'll quickly understand what's going on and go with it and just continue your quest line. But when you feel a quest, you're like, okay, what's next? You have so many quests around you that you literally have no idea what to do. And if you complete the zone, I don't know, there's practically nothing to do in the zone. But yeah, it's just overwhelming a lot of times. Thankfully, like each and every zone has its own completion. Already in the completion screen, meaning that it tells you exactly what you need to do to complete the zone. But it's a bit difficult to understand first for the beginners what's happening. So it's not beginner friendly, to be fair. If you are into the game for a while, for a few hours, maybe like if you play games like 5 hours, maybe you will understand a lot of things and it will become like less overwhelming. But before that, it can be a bit overwhelming. So it's a bit difficult to understand. Next is, I really didn't like interface. Interface is not very restricting. You don't know what to do. Your inventory is over cluttered. You don't have any minimap. You don't have anything. You cannot do this. Maybe on screen you're seeing that I have minimap, but this is the reason that I have a minimap on my screen is because I use add-ons. And add-ons is another additional good thing that you can have. I use add-ons for my minimap. I use add-ons for my different things, like for my inventory. But overall, without add-ons, game is pretty damn difficult to play. Don't have a minimap? You don't have to open the map every single time in order to travel? Come on, guys. You need a minimap. I know the immersion and things like that, but you need to complete a lot of quests in this game. You need to complete a lot of different things in the game, and you need minimap for that. Just add a minimap, guys. Come on. And a lot of different stats. You don't see a lot of different stats. You don't see a lot of different things. And add-ons help you with that, but you don't have to go and find different add-ons and learn how to install them. It's not that difficult. It's actually pretty easy to install, but still, in order to enjoy the game. And thankfully, the add-ons are available and they're abundant, and you can go and download a bunch of different add-ons and enjoy the games thoroughly. So let's go and go to the verdict. Is it worth to play ESO in 2020? Or rather, is it worth to buy ESO in 2020? And the answer is abso-freaking-lutely yes. If you love RPGs, if you love Elder Scrolls universe, and if you kind of enjoy MMOs, you don't have to even love to MMOs. This is the perfect game for you, because it's not as MMO heavy. It is more like a single player RPG, and you will enjoy it thoroughly, and you will find here content to fill your inner gap in your soul for Elder Scrolls 6, 7, 8, and 9 all together. There's so many things to do here, and which expansions coming in like every single time, you're gonna have a lot of things to do. And boy, oh boy, I haven't even played a single expansion yet, and I haven't even covered the quarter of an entire vanilla game. I'm not even talking about the single expansion. I'm talking about vanilla game, and there's so many expansions adding up that they add entire vanilla games worth of content. So that's a lot of things to go through. And if you like to immerse yourselves in a single game for really long time, this game is an amazing choice for you. So this review just continued for far longer than I expected. Well, this will be it for today. I hope I didn't bore you with my talking. Thank you for being here with me. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe for more videos like this one. Join me in our Discord server where we just enjoy a bunch of different things, gaming and other nerdy stuff. And I'm gonna see you in the next one. See ya.